MOTU Madness continues into March with box art reveals, new teases, and we are going to recap Hasbro's WonderCon panel reveals and so much more with our special guest, Brick Something, on today's Toy Habits Live.
And before we go live, smash that like button, turn on notifications, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss a beat.
Hi, everybody. I am the Toy Sorceress, and we have a special guest for you today, Brick Something.
Say hi, hey, Brick. What's going on, folks? Sorry, you said we're ready to go, and I was like not paying attention, so I was like, oh, wait, we are starting. Hi, everybody.
We're on the air, and you're watching Toy Habits Live. How's it going, Brick?
Oh, it's going well. I'm totally a professional and super happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's a beautiful day up here on the northern end of the state. So things are good. Awesome. Life is good. Can't complain.
I'm happy to hear it. Yeah, the weather finally is cooperating with us down here in SoCal as well. It's beautiful and sunny and warm. I can't say so much for last weekend. I actually did spend last weekend with Michael at WonderCon together in person. He was staying with us for the weekend, and we went out there and had a great time. But the weather was horrible. We went through torrential rain to get out to Anaheim, but we had a wonderful time. And we're going to recap on today's show what we saw there. Thank you for filling in for Michael. He's actually busy this weekend with a bunch of family plans, so he couldn't make it. But Brick nicely stepped in and is here to co-host with me, so I really appreciate that. And we have some really great things to talk about today. We're going to talk about some MOTU, some G.I. Joe, and some other stuff. So have a lot of great things to go over. I had breaking news just before the stream, so apologies that we were a few minutes late. I was literally pressing an article right before we went live on the air. So that is why we started a few minutes late. But before we dive into the news, let's go ahead and say hi to the chat and see who's all here. All right. We got crew member Damian Ristori, crew member Bigum here. Dwight is here. Extendart is joining us. Crew member Frank Pryor's in the house. Some guy named Brick Something's also in the chat. King Panther is joining us too. Crew member Joe Coleman, which we had the joy and pleasure of hanging out with at WonderCon last weekend in person, is also joining us. Welcome, Joe. That was a lot of fun. Brennan Barnes, awesome and amazing crew member, is also joining us. We got Ryan Cole, amazing crew member as well. I thought I skipped someone. Here we go. Gerbear Man Cave is here. We got Toy Bounty Hunter. Crew member JT Brunick is joining us. Toy Hunters Hollow, amazing friend of the channel. Awesome Instagram page. Follow Toy Hunters Hollow.
Bay Area.
Yeah, he's in the Bay Area. Woo woo. And I know you guys run into each other quite a bit up there. We got crew member Michael Herrera here. Aaron is also joining us. Mythic Dolphin. Crew member Podcast from the Pit. Crew member Hega, and I'm not going to screw up the rest of your name, is here. Crew member Payne's Toy Samples is joining us. Anthony Aguilar is also here, and so many more. And before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and say hello to our ever-growing Toy Habits crew, and it got so big that and I didn't hit present. It got so big that I could barely fit everybody's name on here. Ooh. We got almost 100 members in the crew. And that's why they're so tiny. So my apologies. I'm not going to go through all the newest members who joined, but everyone who has joined, thank you so much for your support. And all of our existing crew members, thank you for your continued support. You guys are incredible and amazing. And we are so ever grateful for all of you. And look at this. Ryan Cole has now gifted 10 more Toy Habits memberships. So 10 of you out there.
You get a membership. You get a membership.
10 more memberships. You get a membership, and you get a membership. Thank you so much, Ryan. That was super nice of you. And had a few more crew members sneak in here. We got Neil Hunter Hyde joining us, and crew member Robert Ellison joining some of the OG crew is here. Good to see you guys. we got a lot of news to go over. And Brick, I know you've been following the MOTU news, all the March MOTU madness that hit us a week or so ago. What was it, the thing that you were most excited about that was revealed?
I think for me, so I mainly do Masterverse, and that throne for me was a big deal for a couple of reasons. One, the Alcala head, like that was like the thing I've
Oh
been
yeah,
hunting for a while to kind of replace some of
yeah,
my Skeletor heads, and I've bought some third-party ones, but that one is like straight out of the mini comics, exactly
that's
as
awesome.
the kid. And then the idea that there's a throne, right? This is effectively like the
Yeah.
first, other than Battle Cat, the first sort of like big piece, whether it's not a vehicle
Mhm.
exactly, but it's
Yeah,
something new and different for Masterverse. So that's
yeah.
my, and I know I'm naming one of like many great
Oh
things that
no, it's
came
great.
out. So, but that's the one that stands out. So,
Mhm.
yeah, pretty excited about it. Lights,
That's
everything. So cool.
that's awesome. Like, I was over the moon when I saw um Battle Cat and Prince Adam, that 2-pack from the
Mm-hmm.
cartoon
It's
collection,
so cute.
because
Yeah.
those look so great. They look so cute. And just when I saw that first image of like Battle Cat like kind of jumping onto to Prince Adam, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is straight out of Filmation. Yeah, that one. I fell
Uh-huh.
in love. I ordered 2 of them. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the second. Maybe I'll just keep it in box. But I'm super excited about that.
You
And
know
we
what's
got
really
some
funny that
incredible.
we both
Yeah.
said things that basically like are super long awaited. Like how long is it?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I think there's been sort of an attempt at a call ahead, but like, but both of those things, but the Filmation one especially, like we haven't had a cringer, a posable cringer. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah, it's an
The
amazing time
disposable
for.
finger. Absolutely. And it's funny, if you go back and take a look at um, our, cartoon collection wish list, how many
Mhm.
times have I had a Cringer and Prince Adam 2-pack on there? Like probably every time we made that list, I've been begging for it. So somebody in Mattel heard my wishes. They were sick of hearing me. And they gave
Congratulations
us
and well
finally.
done then, Toy Sorcerers. Congratulations, well done.
Thank you, because I was like, I totally need that. That is going to absolutely complete the cartoon collection shelf. And I've got my cartoon collection sitting on the shelf right in front of me. And as I
Mhm.
fill this in, it looks amazing. Like all of these characters coming together. All of like Skeletor's evil warriors, his tight crew, and then you've
Yep.
got our main heroic warriors that are out right now. They look so great together, and I can't wait to see what else is coming down the line. Um, it's super, super exciting. I'm just gonna say hi to a couple more people that snuck in here. We got Baroness of Toys, amazing friend of the channel, is here. Hello, ToyHabits Sweets. Good to see you. Man of Action also snuck in. Laser Eye 21 and crew member Rob 2023 is also here. So wanted to say hi to you guys. So let's go ahead and dive in to all of this amazing news. We're going to start with MOTU first because we had a lot of stuff happen. So I'm going to go with the news that broke this morning, and I'll save the best for last that we just published right before the stream. But we did get the Necroconda official box art by Roy Juarez and his amazingly talented team. I mean, have you had a chance to take a look at these new images?
I did, and it's always that game of like, what's in there? What can I find? But also
Yeah.
just like amazing dynamic artwork. I really love the origin stuff, especially because it's super nostalgic.
Yeah.
Love the Masterverse packaging, but this stuff is they're fully posed up in scenes, right? Masterverse is often just a
Yeah.
portrait, so I
Uh-huh.
love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think this character in particular looks great. He's made of translucent plastic. He has a
Mhm.
soft goods cloak on him, no less. Obi-Wan Kenobi style that goes over his head, which is very cool. And it
It's
turns out Necroconda, I know, is an army builder. And by the
yep.
looks of it, and if you go to toyhabits.com, you can see all these amazing high-res images in person. But it turns out he's an army builder, and we'll go ahead and take a
Mhm.
look at. There's a an image there of like like a text graphic, but it looks like initially we thought all of these Snake Men were going to be part of Walmart exclusives, and sorry, I'm just trying to find the graphic. Here it is. So similar to what came with Lady Slither's packaging, which was also a Mattel Creations exclusive, Necroconda has, and this looks like it's probably like an outer packaging type of graphic that's probably on the outside of the box. But there is this text and explains here that, that every Snake Man soldier sheds his skin prior to serving his army. And basically that Necroconda is a soldier in, King Hiss's Snake Man army. Kind of, I guess, an undead or reanimated type Snake Man. But to me, and we haven't gotten confirmation per se that this is a Mattel Creations exclusive, but by the type of packaging and seeing this additional art, it kind of tells us this is going to MC. First of all, what do you think of that? And secondly, putting an army builder on Mattel Creations exclusive. What's your thoughts, Brick?
One, as far as the character, I think it's really cool. It's kind of nasty if you think about it. I mean, they're actually not like, it's weird. They say this sort of like, they're not reanimated soldiers per se, but it's like, if a snake sheds its skin, you're essentially like making beings out of these things, these golem or something, which I think is super cool. I don't know how that works exactly, but I think it's rad. What it also indicates to me is they're talking about the in there. It says the slithering sorcerers then reanimate these. Like, who are those?
Yeah,
I want to know. I want to know who these slithering sorcerers are. Who are the ones who bring these Necroconda back to, or not back to, I guess, the skins and give them life. As far as it being so this is Mattel Creations. I think Walmart's, I know, a bit of a headache. We don't actually have a ton of Walmarts near us. We have to drive a little bit to get to them from here in South San Francisco. But everything I've seen as far as people getting stuff from Walmart isn't very encouraging. So so you're saying this is definitely Mattel Creations. Is that right?
We don't have absolute confirmation of that yet.
Okay.
But putting the clues together and looking at that text
packaging,
graphic, it's got to be from some kind of packaging. I'm sure if this went to Walmart, it wouldn't have that outer sleeve. This is all signaling that it's going to Mattel Creations, and perhaps it was a step back and saying, hey, CollectorCon. Walmart CollectorCon went so badly because all of those exclusives got swallowed up by bots right away, that maybe they pivoted on this one and said, we're not going to give it to Walmart, and maybe we're going to put that on Mattel Creations so that the fans actually get a chance to buy it.
Could be. Yeah, who knows what goes on in the halls of Mattel, but you're right, with that outer sleeve and even the back being a full portrait and not really having much text or a cross sell indicates that this is something that's going direct to fans, and I prefer that. I like that. It sucks if it's not being shipped to other countries, so that's often a problem with Mattel Creations lately. But I also just hope that they make plenty. These are intended to be army builders, right?
Yes, and that was part of my second question to you. If this does go to Mattel Creations, which it looks like it is, and it's being touted an army builder, that should signal to us that they've made plenty of these for people to buy multiples of.
That's a big should. Yes, that's a big should. And I would love to err on the side of optimism and hope so. The challenge with Origins, like, again, I mainly do Masterverse, and I've seen it, like the Masterverse Mattel Creations stuff sits longer. Origin stuff moves pretty quickly. So I hope, I really, really hope that they're factoring that in terms of how many they're producing on these, because these are really great figures. Like, these are the kinds of things that I know there are people who don't normally buy into, like, say, Snake Man or but they're like, wait, this glows in the dark. That actually happened last night on Mega J's. I was up on there with Adam from Highly Articulated, and he was like, oh, I'm not really into the Snake Man. Oh, wait, it glows in the dark? Oh yeah, no, I'm totally gonna get this. So
Yeah.
I just hope they factor all of that in the numbers.
I do too. I really do too. And just taking a look at his incredible packaging, we'll dive in closer into the artwork in a minute, but he does glow in the dark. He's made of translucent plastic. You can see the reuse of Lady Slither's tail packaged in to this box with him. Of course, this is deluxe packaging. It does look amazing. Similar to what we got with Mossman, with Cyclone, with obviously these new deluxe Turtles of Grayskull figures. And then, he's got glow in the dark, this like kind of scabbard sword, and then, another smaller sword and a dagger. It looks like he's packaged with an exclusive comic behind him. So the presentation is absolutely amazing, looks great. And this again is another piece of art that it doesn't show up on the back or the front of the package. And of course, the front packaging, and we'll see the unfold of it, wraps around the side. So this is yet another piece of new art, which to me also signals that there must be some other part of the packaging or something that this goes to. So whether it's maybe a insert rather than like one of those cardboard postcards, maybe it could be instead of a comic book, we don't know, or it might be part of some kind of special packaging that is on the outside of Necroconda. But they're going to use it somewhere because they wouldn't produce this if it didn't go on the package.
Nope.
He looks and the neat thing about this figure is it's complete reuse. Every single part is something that they've already had, but it's such a brilliant reuse of parts. We have the King Hiss head and the Skeletor snake armor, He-Man, the little claw piece, and various Snakeman arms, and the Skeletor 2000X like shin guards. So it's just a really smart reuse of parts. I love that they did a soft goods cloak with this guy. That's going to be just like such an incredible piece to see it that way. And diving into the artwork here, let's take a look at the front artwork first. Now, we always try and look for teases in the artwork, although I didn't really see a tease in this. We do have, a whole bunch of other, I guess, Necroconda Snakemen surrounding Lady Slither coming down this staircase into a cave-like setting. But, this could be a foreshadowing for the Snake Lair. But what do you think? Because, we don't have any other figure teases in here.
Yeah, there's not a ton of teases, but it's interesting on the bottom right to see that sort of cross-company promotion there of I was once a man, Cobra Commander, right? Is that what that's?
Yes.
Oh no,
you're absolutely
isn't that
right.
it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Cobra Commander right there. No,
it is. And eventually, when he slinks down to snake form. But the neat thing about the snake, and if you take a look at the profile of the head, that's the Snake Mountain snake. That profile of the mouth and the teeth that's open is definitely an homage to the snake from Snake Mountain.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think it's really cool to kind of see. I'm assuming this is a Necroconda being birthed in that sort of like pedestal thing with a smoke coming out, and that's just ridiculously cool. And this is great. This is like the straight up 80s tradition of your henchmen that basically like if this were a cartoon would be sort of okay to see get thrown around and potentially killed or whatever, because they're the army builders and like they're just in theory they're just snake skins. They're not actually like, I could totally see that, just like the reanimated skull. What are we calling the skull people that they released, the army builder skeleton soldiers?
Skeleton warriors?
No, there's skeleton warriors, or the horde robots, right? Like those characters that you can kind of see in the cartoon get thrown around and it's fine. And it's it's kind of cool to see the snake men get their henchmen. Troops.
Yes. And Mint with Card makes a really good point. He's a little fatigued with the Snake Men, but really wants this one. And we're still in the Rise of the Snake Men theme. We have not made the full transition into Powers of Grayskull, although we know that these characters kind of open the gateway for the Powers of Grayskull. I'm still itching to see more of this new artwork and packaging on our new figures, but we're still getting Rise of the Snake Men. But I think maybe they're holding that back to San Diego. But this is a really cool figure, and I think a lot of people are going to be excited for him. Anything in translucent plastic make people happy, and seeing this image here as well, with He-Man being attacked by multiple Necrocondas, is very cool too. There's again no teases in here, but I love the classic He-Man that is front and center in this illustration. And again, we've got this additional snake here, which this just brings in the theme of the snake lair and like where is this taking place, and I think that helps to add more of that mystique to the new crowdfund playset that will be coming sometime later this year.
Ooh, yeah, no, absolutely. I'm intrigued for sure. I love it.
Absolutely.
This art stuff is just so great. Like that's one of my favorite things. I hope we're just continue to get volumes of that book, by the way. Sorry, it's a little bit of a digression, but I just love seeing this stuff, and I love that this. I'm on the website as surfing over here, and I love that there's a website.
Oh, that's great.
It's just all in a very clear, convenient place.
If there's anything you ever miss on our live streams, you can find it all on the website, which now transitions us into the next topic, which is incredible box art. But we're going to switch gears from Origins to now Masterverse. And we got a sneak peek at Wave 13. So Wave 13 box images have surfaced. So Wave 13 consists of Thunder Punch He-Man, New Eternia Thunder Punch He-Man, New Eternia Cyclone, Princess of Power Leech, and Revolution Emperor Hordak. So these are the new figures. Of course, they're in that incredible new Masterverse packaging that's got the art that wraps around the entire box. I absolutely love it. I love that they shrunk the window down, that we don't really need to see the figure's legs. Give us more artwork so you can still see the figure inside and see the condition and the plastic and how it looks and everything presented nicely. But then we've got that incredible art that wraps around the whole thing. And I think, switching just real quick on the topic, from the old, just blue standard Masterverse boxes we used to get to these new ones, I think mint on card collectors may start purchasing extras of these just to keep them close because they look so beautiful in their new packaging. I mean, I never did this with Masterverse figures, but I did buy one extra Man-at-Arms because I just loved the artwork and how he looked in the package. So, I think this was a brilliant move on Mattel's part to maybe drive some additional sales on Masterverse, which was a little bit more sluggish, right? Because those tended to sit on the shelves a little longer. What are your thoughts in terms of this new packaging? And we'll dive into each of these artwork, but I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, no, I think the packaging is great. The other ones, like, while I generally appreciate a level of like consistency, they just were a little boring, like very stark, right? And I feel like with the character sort of like bursting out of the border, if you will, of that window and everything, I think it's really cool. I also imagine that this is a little bit more of an expense because each box essentially has a unique cut, die cut for that window. So, but it's cool looking. I'm not a mint on box collector. And in fact, I just unloaded a lot of Masterverse boxes since the very beginning, everything I had last month. And, but I think it's really cool. And I think, it's kind of a question mark in terms of how often we're going to get entertainment, right? Like Revolution just came. It's going to be a while before we get the next thing. Who knows if anything else is in the works. So this just kind of really makes it a lot more graphic, and there's a little bit of storytelling there with Hordak and the three troops there, or 4 troops. I think it's really helpful for people walking down the aisle and going like, oh yeah, the world of He-Man, right? A little bit more of a showcase in the world. So
absolutely.
It's cool.
Absolutely. And it's great because, these are more readily available at retail. You do quite often, at least at our targets, do see the Masterverse figures. And so it'll be great to see these on shelves. And hopefully the new artwork will help drive sales. But if it is more expensive to do the figures with all of this art packaging, it must signal to us at least that the line is healthy. So that's always a good thing.
You're right.
right?
You're absolutely
Right?
right. It's not a huge expense either, but they wouldn't
Yeah,
do that for a line that's absolutely.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And on the back of Emperor Hordak's package, we get to
Uh,
see the Fright Zone as it appeared in Filmation, because this is like the full on huge, Fright Zone. It's not like the vintage playset Fright Zone. So that's really cool. And you've got, the flying Horde vehicles in the background, and the Horde tanks are also lining up behind Hordak. So,
Mhm.
really cool to see these things. And I'm going to give a real quick shout out to our awesome and OG crew member, Allison Troy, which is now celebrating 12 months
Oh
as a crew
man,
member.
wow.
Congratulations.
What's up, Allison?
How's it
Yeah, you said
going?
as we saw it in Filmation,
Mhm.
and that's true. It matches that, but it's also
Mhm.
Revolution too. The sort of
Yes.
scene, yeah. And
Yes.
it's really cool to see those
Absolutely.
versions of those tanks, like
Mhm.
hinted at there in the back. I don't know that
Yeah.
we'll ever necessarily see those in
Yeah.
Masterverse toy form, but they look really cool. I like that sort of.
Unless Yurko makes them.
True, that's true.
he's he's been meant to
Prints
3D
them
print
up.
all sorts of neat stuff.
Yep.
Next thing I know, I'm going to turn around. Yarko's got one done tomorrow. I'm totally
The other
kidding,
thing
Yarko.
the other thing with this is that we do get product photography, and so it is kind of cool to kind of see him
Mhm.
triumphant in this pose. I dig it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it gives us a bit more of a sense of, like, if I'm in the store, I'm looking at him, I can't really see his
Mhm.
legs, and I'm like, oh, what's
Yeah.
oh, and I turn around, I see it in this full, like, sort of Dio situation with a painted background. I'm like, okay, this
Yeah.
is cool. I could see this
Absolutely.
convincing me, honestly, to be like, oh man, yeah, I guess I need to get it. He looks really cool. So
Yes.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I love the portrait
'Cause-
down at the bottom left. If you get a chance to
Yep.
look at that closely, that's a really cool looking painted portrait of Hordak, of this
Oh
version of
yeah.
Hordak.
Right here. Yeah, that looks great. That really does. They did a wonderful job on that. But it's like every bit of the box packaging is helping in terms of
Mhm,
sales and
mhm,
drive sales for the product. And then
mhm.
the next one that we got, which I gotta say, seeing him in hand, his face sculpt looks better because I did give him a hard time. Is Thunder Punch He-Man? It looks like they straightened out his toupee a little bit, and his hair doesn't look so like sideways as it did on on Faker. He does look better here, I gotta admit, and now it's making me want to actually get this figure maybe early. At least order it because I was on the fence. But this is a really cool one, and Thunder Punch He-Man is punching out New Eternia Skeletor. It's like they dug him back up
Yeah.
from the
Yep.
archives in this artwork, which is hilarious because this is that's that scabbardly sword that he came with, and
Mhm.
having that other kind of Mark Taylorish head sculpt that the New Eternia Skeletor came with, and like the extra chest armor and cape that
Mhm.
he's wearing. But I think this artwork's really cool. What do you think of the front of this package?
Yeah, again, this is what hasn't been traditionally in Masterverse packaging. It's usually been
Hmm.
portraits, right? And so we're getting action shots, and I love it. Like, this is very Origin style too, right? Like, you're actually seeing these characters in scene. And again, just sort of speaking to the
Hmm.
storytelling, like so many of
Hmm.
us, if you're into New Eternia, right? Yes, there were some comics, and they were kind of like done as sort of like one-off, what do you call it? Like a
Hmm.
uh, anthology style.
Yeah.
But like when I look at these shots, just like that original, the Beast Man, or even the Skeletor New Eternia, the back of that was
Yeah.
kind of cool to see him in scene. The back of
Hmm.
the New Eternia Beast Man, seeing him swing along with his other people sort of around
Yeah.
him. To see this
Yeah.
like classic He-Man versus Skeletor in New
Hmm.
Eternia is really, really cool. And I
It,
agree
it
with you
is.
that
It is good.
I was just gonna say, I agree with you on the head, at least in this box, it looks better.
It looks
Um,
better.
but
Although
I
people are
am
still calling on chain smoking Aunt Karen, but that's okay.
it's not my favorite, and I'll be
Yes, I
honest,
know
like,
they can't get his head right. They absolutely
I
can't. I
am
mean,
I tend to
to
replace
me,
a lot of my
his head is always better. It's
I
still
tend to
the
replace
cheeks
them.
are always too thin, but this is as close as they've gotten so far.
Yeah.
You know.
I tend
Yeah.
to replace a lot of mine. So for the
Mhm.
most part, most of my He-Man are by Hordak MX.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's better. It's one of the better
Yeah.
ones, and it looks much better than those early shots. He looks like
Yes.
he told the makeup artist to tone back a little bit on the rouge and the. So
Yep.
it looks good.
He does. And just to answer your question, Justin, this is not the 40th anniversary buck. It's a standard buck, and you can tell just holding it, like his abs are much more pronounced here, and he's got a much bigger, like broader chest on the 40th anniversary figure than that one does.
Mhm.
So they kind of reverted back. I wish that they kind of incorporated this new buck into a lot more of the new He-Man figures, but they haven't. And
Well,
maybe they're just allowing that 40th anniversary figure to stand on its own and be the as close as possible beautiful homage to the original figure as they can. So
I have a
that's
question
that
on that
one.
though. You're saying that
Yeah,
this is the original buck, but is it the original?
not the original, but I
Not
think
the
it's the
not the
buck we
Revelation one,
just used. No, it's the
the
buck we
battle
just
armor
used
one.
for the battle armor one. It's
Gotcha.
not. It's definitely not this 40th anniversary one because
Yep.
he's
Yep.
got a
For
much
sure.
deeper chest, like bigger
Mhm.
pecs and like bigger abs,
Yep. I'm with you.
kind of bigger arms. So it's the more evolved buck, but it's not the 40th anniversary buck, if you want to put it that.
Yeah, and I haven't gotten my hands on that He-Man either because kind of have a lot of
Oh,
He-Man, but I don't know. I am kind of curious to see what that body's like. With this one, it
this
was
one's
a
great.
it was a similar vibe where I was like, oh, do I need another He-Man? But it's like I really love the armor and I really love his gauntlets. I really like that part of this new Eternia redesign.
Oh yeah,
So
yes,
I'm in on this
yes.
one, and the packaging's helping.
And he looks really great with that additional like pieces that are going up on his biceps that are
Yep,
connected to his
they
wrist
look
guards.
so good. Yeah.
Those are great. They really do. Yeah, I'm actually getting a lot more happy with how this He-Man turned out. And
Mhm.
maybe once I get him in hand, I'll fall in love with the head sculpt. We'll see. But for now, it looks better than Chain Smoking Annie. I think it's a vast improvement than the original pictures.
I don't want to interrupt the flow, but I'm curious. When you say chain smoking Annie, who's the Annie? Is that an
Someone said it looked
Anakin?
like
Is that
Aunt Annie or something like that because of the hairdo. It looks
an
like a
Auntie Annie?
like a
Gotcha.
woman, and then the
Okay, got
cheekbones,
it.
and it's like she's been chain smoking. So it's
Sorry,
just
I'm
been a
of a certain
running
age,
joke.
so I imagine like an orange sort of afro style when you say Annie.
Oh, well, yeah, I know. But he does look better. He absolutely does look better. And then that'll bring us over to
Ooh,
Cyclone, which looks amazing. And on Cyclone's package, we actually do get a couple teases, which I'm going to dive into in a second. So this new version of Cyclone is amazing. New Eternia. They've given him a little bit more added features onto his face sculpt,
Yeah.
a little bit more dynamic outfit, I guess if you want to call it that, and that extra mask that he comes with, which I think is really cool. And first of all, we have a couple of skeleton warriors that are shown here. I'm going to flip around to another image in a second, but what do you think of this figure? And
I mean
his package.
okay, because the figure I was sold on a while back. I've got all of these already pre-ordered because I'm just like I want to set it and lock it in, and but the packaging again, like more story, more action. It's Cyclone versus the Skeletons, which amazing. Like, when are we getting those? Because I am ready for them. And they look pretty traditional, right? So just because I'm thinking New Eternia, they tend to have a little bit of a twist on what we're used to, but that's amazing. And then on the top left too, like to know that there are I'm blanking. What are they? What are Cyclone's people called?
I actually I don't remember the name of like his race or whatever.
Because I mean I know in like people are saying is he Gar? So he could be, but then I'm looking what's on the top left.
So.
Maybe I'm
I think
wrong.
so.
What's in the very top left? Do you see that little figure person up there?
Yes,
in front
I
of the
do,
Saturn
and it's going
looking.
to come to my
Okay.
next tease.
Okay.
Because before we dive into that, I'm just going to go over to the backside of his package, which is a beautiful diorama shot. But that's going to bring me into what the news we broke, because I left those last two Masterverse figures for last, because guess what? We got in-hand images of both Cyclone and Leech of the actual figures out of their package, and some very cool teases on Cyclone's box art, which is actually teasing the Skeleton Warriors and Fright Fighter, which is hilarious because, we don't have any vehicles in the Masterverse line. This is clearly Skeletor riding around in the Fright Fighter, and he's got, I guess, some more of Cyclone's, race of men or whatever his features in his graphs. You can see the Skeleton Warrior here.
That thing was so cool. That was one of my favorite designs of the vintage. I didn't have a vintage I had a handful of vintage stuff, but my cousin, who's 5 years younger than me, and was lucky enough to have a ton of He-Man, and that big old dragonfly looking thing was so cool. I don't remember it super well enough. Is this look at all new Eternified to you? Oh, there it is.
Well, this is the vintage.
Yeah,
the vintage ship.
Sorry, I'm over here looking at the website of the box. So I'm trying to figure out how different it is.
You're good. You're good. I'm going to go back to that image. So it does look new Eternified-ish, because look at all the detail like on the jets that are on the bottom of it. And then also kind of like the back of the copter, if you want to call it that, with also this little satellite and kind of some extra detail on it, where if you take a look at the vintage version, it did have that, but I just feel like it's a little bit more plussed up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
On the image, on the illustration here. And these guys, if you remember the Skeleton Warriors, these I believe came packed with the Roton for the MOTU Classics line. Kind of a new character, kind of a background character. They probably got it out of MOTU lore and the comics and all that kind of stuff. So this is a really neat like army builder figure. So if they're hinting at that would be really cool. And so what we're going to do is actually dive into the in-hand images that I got just before the live stream started. So again, my apologies, we were a few minutes late because I was literally typing this up and pressing the article before we went live. So this is Cyclone. He looks incredible, and he is quite taller than sort of like the standard Masterverse figures. What I was told by our anonymous source that sent these photos to me, that he stands in stature with more kind of like the Beastman-ish height, or maybe not as tall as like Snout Spout, but like kind of he's got that sort of lankier, like taller stature. You can tell, kind of the longer legs that he has, and his body stands a little bit higher than some of the other figures. What do you think of this guy? Now that you can see him in hand, and my apologies, the light is, not perfect, but
I think it looks fantastic. I love sort of seeing the shield with the spinning fire thing going on it. No, this is really great, and I'm jealous that this person has it in hand, and Leech in the back there.
We'll talk about him in a minute too.
But this looks really, 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 really cool, and it gives me that flashback to the old figure. See, or his arms joints loose, you think? No, but it looks great. It looks really good. No, I doubt it too. But the new shape of the helmet too looks really cool. It's a really cool silhouette.
I love that. I love the added, kind of shoulder blades or whatever they added to them, and these new red, fire effects. They attach to both his shield and his wrist guards, so you can have like various different poses and on your display, which I think is really cool. And here you can see those fire effects attached on his wrists, which look great, because if you want to show him like he's kind of like spinning away, is awesome. He looks really good there. And then here's a close-up of him. And so the chest plate, and this is a brand new buck, obviously, because it's a whole new sculpt, incorporating that like lenticular planetary radar screen or whatever he's got on him, is apparently, it is a lenticular sticker, but it is behind a plastic bubble.
Right.
So it's not, and I'm gonna pull up, my Mattel Creations Cyclone here, which you can see that's just a lenticular sticker, but
Yep.
it's really cool that they kind of did it behind a bubble because it makes it look a little bit more like a screen, and it gives it that added layer of technology behind it,
Yep.
right? And
This
we can have a
man
little.
is playing Galaga. He thought
Oh
we
yeah,
wouldn't notice, but yes, no. And as you hold
absolutely.
up that Origins version, I really like the differentiation of that sort of more subdued
Yep.
gold and on this one
Mhm.
because it really fits.
Mhm.
Yeah, see, that's cool. It's striking, it's bold, but for the
Yeah.
sort of new Eternity universe where things are a little bit more muted, I think
Mhm.
this looks really cool.
Yeah, and his yellow parts of his outfit have a little bit of more of that shimmer to it,
Yep.
kind of a little bit of a
Yep.
gold color in it. His face has some added detail that makes him look a little bit more, I guess, mechanical, if you want to call it that. That makes him like kind of a little bit more connected to his I guess mechanical part of his body. And we can have a little live demonstration with fun with Cyclone later to see his action feature. So I
Yep.
had my husband bring him upstairs for that reason, but I think he looks wonderful. And this is a back view. You can see the coloring on Cyclone a little bit better here. How it's like kind of that shimmery old plastic. His legs are and boots are totally a new sculpt because it's got the rings that wrap around it.
Rings.
Totally brand new like loincloth design, and his arms because he's got the bicep bracers attached to there, and like those little blue
Yep.
whatever blade items that are on his biceps as well.
Mhm.
So totally brand new sculpt. I think he looks great. This one's a home run from Mattel, and they did a fantastic job with him. The
Yeah.
next one we're going to take a look at will be
Are you moving on
hand.
from Cyclone? I got a question before that.
Oh yeah. Before we do, go for it.
Childhood. No, it's about the toy you had in your hand. Childhood me needs to know this. Can you take the
Yes.
red ring from around his head like you could the original? Oh
Here.
no. Yeah. Do you remember on the
No, it doesn't.
vintage?
It's sculpted. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Just from the vintage,
It's
that was for some reason that became an extra weapon on my
yes,
old
but
Cyclone.
if it makes you feel better, you can clip this red ring in
No, that
multiple
thing.
spots, like
Yeah,
around
that
his
thing is
waist.
killer.
Like I
Yeah.
had it up on his around his neck or back right here because you can kind of flip this into place. And if you really wanted to, and you wanted to be a badass, oh shoot, sorry, his hand
It's
came
okay.
off.
That was pretty
You can,
badass in its own way.
I know, right? You can actually have him, and I just dropped him on the floor. 1 second.
Oh,
You can have
good.
him
But
hold his. You can have him hold his ring,
uh-huh.
and I guess we might as well do this now since you asked the question. We'll do a
Oh,
live
see,
demonstration
I think that's
of
so
his
awesome. My
action
only
figure.
question is why didn't they do that for Masterverse too? The fire stuff is
I
cool, but
know.
that
They
that
could. They
weapon is so
could have.
versatile. Oh, look at that.
Let's see how
Yeah.
fast I
Oh,
can get him whipping. But if
oh
he's
my
got that,
god.
that red ring in his hand and his shield, that's like
Woo!
watch out. Evil warriors, your ass
Oh,
is gonna get kicked.
that
This
is
thing, I
awesome.
can get it going pretty fast, but
That's super
this, I
satisfying.
gotta tell you, home
Uh-huh.
run by
Yeah,
Mattel. The
that's
best
great.
Origins figure they've come out with so far.
Yeah, that's really
Engineering
odd.
marvel.
I would have loved to have had that piece and be more like the 2000X, and you kind of use it as a sort of thing
Hmm.
behind him, snap it into the
Yep.
back. Oh well,
Yeah. Yeah. And
3D printers
when
make
you
it
have it
happen.
wrapped around his waist and he spins around, it looks great. It's kind of like a hula
Mhm.
hoop.
Yep, deadly
But
hula hoop.
yeah, a deadly hula hoop. You don't want to get hit by that. And then moving on to
That's
Leech.
cool.
So this, and I want to get your opinion on this one. This is a pop version of Leech. So he's got more of those Filmation colors. He's got the yellow pauldrons on his shoulder. He looks like Filmation style with the lighter torso and like the yellow belt. What do you think of this version of Leech?
I'm all over it. That was that
Mhm.
actually, believe it or not, of the sort of single pack figs, that was the one that I wanted the most. I loved Revolution, but
Mhm.
I wasn't completely sold. I haven't been sold on the Revolution figures, sadly. I'm not sure why. I love that Hordak. I guess I wanted more of the battle Hordak, and I wanted him to be.
Mhm.
You're speaking about that 40th anniversary buck. I wanted
Mhm.
that Hordak to either be that or Skelegod, like bigger. But
Mhm.
this one, when I saw this, like this is the one where I was like, oh, I 100% want this one. Then Cyclone was number 2 of the
Mhm.
single pack figures that
Yeah.
I want. I think he looks really cool. For some reason, they I don't know if it's not just them. A lot of companies do these monsters really, really well.
Mhm.
I think it's because
Yeah.
we don't have a frame of reference. Like for the faces, when people complain about He-Man or any other thing, it's like because we in our heads we pretty darn familiar with what a human face is meant to look like, but we don't really
Yeah.
have a concept of what this leech dude is supposed to look like. Or Slush Head
Mhm.
is another one that sticks out to me. So I think they do such a great job of the monster figures, and I love how they
Mhm.
kind of tried to honor the suction cup feet and
Yes.
hands, but like made it into something that fits more in line with the art direction and style of Masterverse.
Yeah.
I think it's cool,
Yeah.
and I really love that face because it reminds me of that alternate head
Mhm.
from the Origins one, which was sculpted by the Four Horsemen, or specifically Corn Boy from Four Horsemen. And so I'm glad they
Yeah.
leaned into that for this one. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like
Yeah.
like a Peruvian, like indigenous sort of sculpture almost. It's cool.
That's awesome. I love that about it, and yeah, they absolutely went with that style head. I love that he's got all of the individual sculpted teeth in his mouth, and they went to the extreme of
Yeah,
if you
that's
look at
so
the
cool.
Motu Classic version of Leech, his
Uh-huh.
suction cups on his hands and feet are just smooth. There's
Mhm.
no texture
Yep.
sculpted into it. There's no added detail. The person that sent me these images did say these are hard plastic, so there's no
Okay.
suction cup
Right.
action feature or anything. But
Yep.
you've got all these little kind of like they look like the Starlight Pit, right? Like those little tentacly teeth
Yep.
sucking onto the bottom, and then these additional little like little suction cups. So it's great that he's got like that added texture on his
It's
hands and feet suction cups. I
it's
think
gonna be great
that's a
for
really cool
photography.
feature. Yeah.
Yeah, like him kicking or coming into the camera with his feet kind of kicking at the
Mhm.
camera is gonna look really cool
Yeah.
because of those like cool little
Yeah.
details.
Yeah, and it's great that they incorporated that into there. You can tell that this leech's stature is a bit shorter than the other figures because, as you know, the
More
Motu
like
Classics
origin.
figures stand a little shorter than
Oh,
Masterverse,
mhm,
and it
mhm.
looks here that he's like slightly shorter even than the Classics leech. So he's got that smaller stature, and he's even shorter than Catra. So I don't know if I guess maybe they were looking at
There's a little
the
bit of
figure scale, and he's kind of a shorter, stubbier kind of character, and maybe a little bit more broad.
I
But
think
it looks
there's
like
also a perspective thing happening there, foreshortening thing
yeah.
happening.
But
Catra's
I
a
was
little
I was
bit
actually told this by the owner of these
person who
photos
has it.
that
Okay.
yeah that he is a little bit shorter in stature. He's like one of the shorter
Huh.
figures, which is something that stood out to this person. And you can
Yeah.
kind of see it in context of these. I know it's an angle thing too, but I guess he is a little bit smaller in scale.
Yeah.
And he does come with this kind of like whip tentacle accessory that
Mhm.
it's attached to a horde type thing on his little wrist bracer right there that you can see that he wears as an accessory, which I think is really cool because he has no way to grab anything. There's no gripping hands,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Which I think was a missed opportunity. Maybe they should have packed him with a couple extra gripping hands to put some kind of extra accessory with them. So on that sense, maybe that was a missed opportunity. All you can do is clip on his standard crossbow and this cool little whip.
Yeah,
But
it
all
is
in
a
all,
little odd. Yeah, I
yeah,
agree with you. That would have been really cool, molded in sort of that frogish thing, but just take away the webbing so that they could grip.
yeah, yeah.
That would
Yeah,
have
I mean, we
been
got
next
that with
level.
the Origins figures, so we did have alternate hands. But look at all those teeth he's got sculpted into there. I
Mhm.
mean,
Mhm. Mhm.
that is awesome. That is awesome because even the one from Motu Classics had like kind of bigger teeth, but this one's just like so more of that kind of suction cuppy, teethy, like multiple like layers of teeth type design in his mouth,
Yeah.
rather than
He
like
looks
looking more like a crocodile.
is
So.
are his pauldrons, shoulder pauldrons? That's new, right? I don't remember any figure
Mhm.
having that other than maybe Man at Arms has some pauldrons that stick up, but it's a really
Exactly.
cool look. Creates a really
Yeah,
cool
yeah,
silhouette.
Yeah, I mean that's a callback to his Filmation design. So because he's from Princess of Power, so this
Right.
is calling back to his look in the cartoon, which he did have these yellow pauldrons. So I think they did a really great job on this one. So thank you to the person that sent us these photos.
Who
Wants
are
to
you?
remain anonymous, but
It was
they look great.
me. You can just tell them it was me. I have the figure here.
Whip it out,
No.
Rick. We want to see him. No,
Don't
it
clip
actually,
that. But I just remember
and
these
this
are
diorama in the background's incredible. I just gotta say that the person who sent me these pictures is incredibly talented. Built out this whole world. Took amazing photos. So thank you so much to this person.
yeah,
And look at
that's cool.
that Castle Grayskull and all of the world of Eternia that this person has to display his figures. Totally jealous of that. It looks great. Great.
And
Super
maybe this
talented.
is more of a question for the chat.
Yeah.
But I am just kind of wondering, these are both new Eternia figures, both Cyclone and this.
Well, it's a Princess of Power figure, but yeah.
Oh, is this one listed as Princess of Power?
Mhm.
Okay, never mind. Scratch that. But for
No,
Cyclone, I'm just kind of
it's
curious
okay.
if they're pulling from concept art precedent, and I'm not familiar enough with the Cyclone concept art. Anyway, that's if for anybody in the chat. I don't know if Allison's there or anyone.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to touch on was on Leech's box art. We do have a tease, and I had these windows open for both Scorpia with her cat, which is awesome, and we get a tease for Adora as well. So
That's so
that
cool.
is really awesome. I hope we get these figures. That's the classic version. But we absolutely need a Adora in the line. We still don't have her in either Origins or Masterverse. So how cool would it be if we get Adora in Masterverse? I mean, come on.
How cool will it be? Do you mean? No,
It will be cool.
it's gonna happen. It's absolutely gonna
Yes.
happen, and I'm excited for it. I was talking with Mega J last night about, there's always these different notions
Neil
out
Hunter
there
Hyde is
about
more than excited.
yeah, Adora. There's this notion out there that like, oh no, they don't have access to this, and I understand that, and but I also am not in those rooms, and sometimes I wonder if the people who claim certain things were there, if they're whatever. But at the end of the day, all signs point to some kind of shift, that because they're representing these characters. You don't throw those on there. Like Mattel's legal counsel would not let that artwork fly. Nobody in Mattel would pay an artist to do that, right?
If they didn't have intentions of making it.
Yeah, if there's the potential of some we don't have the rights to do it. And between what happened in Revolution, sorry, I'm not going to say spoiler alert, because if you're on ToyHabits and you haven't seen Masters of the Universe Revolution, you're a little bit suspect. You should go check it out. But there are clear nods to Adora existing, and potentially being in the next iteration. So it's all coming together. We're gonna get an Adora. We're gonna get all of these, and which is great, because we've had a Princess of Power line in Masterverse for a while, and we still haven't gotten Adora, and that's a little odd. Granted, it took us a while to get Prince Adam too, but come on.
I know. I'm super excited that we're going this way in the line, and we already know that Pop is coming to Origins, the cartoon collection, because we've been covering that. If you follow our website, so I love that they're leaning into Princess of Power. It's the Princess of Power 40th anniversary, so we got to celebrate that. We got to get more characters, and this is going to be incredible. And I'm super excited to see Adora and Scorpia on this box. And I love that they did make that pivot of full 360 degree, or all the way surrounding box art on these new Masterverse figures, because now that gives them the opportunity to give us these figure teasers, which they never used to do before, right?
Nope. It was all in Origins, and you got to play that fun game all over. The rest of us here in Masterverse were like, oh, with the exception of that Beast Woman, which what time is it?
Which we never got.
I'm waiting for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know, but it just gives us more things to cover and
It
ponder over
does.
Ghostbusters. So
So
we
tune into
absolutely love that stuff.
toyhabits.com. Yes.
And if you want to see, sit here and drool over these in-hand images, again, thank you to the person who sent it to us, of New Eternia Cyclone and the new Masterverse Leech, head over to toyhabits.com. We have this on the front and center of the website. You find the article right there, and you can take a look at those images. They are amazing. And we did discover that the Wave 13 is also on Walmart's website. I know Walmart's a sticking point, but if you want to get them, some people like to order from Walmart. More power to you, but we did find the links to that as well. So I don't know if we had anything else on MOTU to cover, because I want to switch gears and talk about WonderCon that I had the pleasure of attending in person with my amazing partner, Michael, who again wasn't able to be here. And I'll put a pin in that until you have your final thoughts on MOTU.
Just that I'm excited. This is like, again, it's weird to think that it's 2024 and we're at this real strong high point for the brand. I think, there was all sorts of things like, oh, Origins is disappearing. Like, no, it's not. And it's continuing in new and different forms. And not just like the Origins, there's also Turtles of Grayskull. Like there's clearly the brand is alive. There's interest in cross-pollinating with things like Ninja Turtles and Stranger Things. So it's really in this, almost like I'm pinching myself, almost like a strangely healthy place. You pointed it out, right? Oh, they're spending more on the packaging. So I'm excited to just sort of see where things are going, because especially as we're getting more and more figures, and it's just a big question mark. Like, ooh, what else can we get? Because we're not necessarily getting the most obvious things in actual figure form or even teased. We're getting really cool, weird characters. Necroconda,
exactly, and
it's exciting.
It's super exciting. It's Mattel's way of stretching out the line, right? Because if they give us all of the expected figures all at once, we're going to get to the end of the rope, and they are doing the right thing. So for those of you that are frustrated that we haven't gotten all of the core characters yet, think about this. It's for the health of the line, right? It's going to keep the line going when they have these new characters that come out that kind of help fill some waves, and it prolongs the time that the line is out. It helps generate more revenue. It keeps the line going. It keeps it financially and healthy, and just helps prolong how long we're going to be getting MOTU. So I think it's wonderful. I know we're all impatient for getting the other vintage figures that we want to get, but they'll come. They'll come, and stay tuned to toyhabits.com, because we've always got news on future waves. So, and I'm not going to say more than that, but there is some news coming. Yes. And on that note, we're now going to pivot over to WonderCon. Michael and I attended that in person last weekend. It was great. I was just going to throw some photos on the screen. I've got these on my Instagram page. Loading those up.
Now you two have gotten together in real life before, or was this the first time?
Once before, we've met in person.
Once before.
So Michael came down for the weekend, spent the weekend with me and my husband. It was a lot of fun. Yay. Got to show him my toy room, which was really cool. And I wanted to film a toy room tour, but we just kind of ran out of time. So, but it was so much fun. And we even got to meet a couple of our, and I'm going to put a pin in that one in a second. But we got to meet a couple of our ToyHabits crew members. That's nice. Jason in that picture, and hung out with our very own Joe Coleman as well, who spent the day with us hanging out and shopping and whatnot. But we got to meet Emily from the Hasbro marketing team.
That's
and
awesome.
She was super nice. She was representing both G.I. Joe and Ghostbusters that day. And funny things, we talked to her. We were waiting outside for the panel to start. So we got to chit chat with her a little bit. And before the panel started, I was like, oh, I'm going to go use a restroom and, just whatever, clean up and stuff. And then I ran into Emily in there too. And we were talking for a while. She was like super sweet. We were just like chit-chatting away. Well, hopefully we're going to see if we can try and get her on the show.
But
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. So I'm gonna save the best thing for last, but there were some really cool reveals, and uh, we're not gonna cover all the Marvel and Transformers and all that kind of stuff. But what I did want to cover was a couple of
Aw.
reveals that they did. I know it was a lot. It was a
It's a
lot.
lot.
So
No, it is, but
we
there was some
have to
great Marvel
focus our.
stuff. Whew.
It's only me and Michael. There's only two of us, so we got to focus our efforts here. But they
Fair
did
enough.
unveil this amazing 1984 version of the Ecto-1 in 1/18 scale. That the doors open. It's got incredible, detailing in there. There's this little gurney in the back that has room for some blasters and whatnot. And so it's funny because Emily made the joke. Well, if you have room to put these proton packs in, what are you going to put in there, and who's going to sit in the seat? And then they're showing all these great pictures, and then they revealed these amazing freaking, and I'm just going to go to the better images here. O-ring Ghostbusters figures, 3 3/4 inch O-ring Ghostbusters figures. I mean, we were all like, wow, like that's really cool, because Hasbro's gone away, like stepped away from O-ring. They gave the G.I. Joe O-ring line to Super 7, as you know, and now, I mean, I know it's only 4 figures, but they're going to make these O-ring figures. So share your thoughts on this. What do you think of it?
It's funny. We've been talking about like, what is this interesting low-key O-ring resurgence, right? Between all these sort of indie brands kind of returning to O-rings. We got Delta 17 and a bunch of other great options. You have Super 7 going back to O-ring for Joes. And then they dropped this, which is really cool. I have heard that, as maybe you've heard as well, that it's not necessarily indicative of like a brand new O-ring, G.I. Joe collection.
It's like a one-off. It's a one-off.
Like a cool one-off. But I think it's really, like, it truly is a cool one-off. And what I like, I actually really, really like the head sculpts on these. It kind of hits that fun
and I'll go back
balance. Yeah, they're a little bit soft in a good way. Like they're not like, the hyper detail, which they shouldn't be in O-ring, because there's a little bit of like abstraction that's happening in O-ring.
Yeah, and what I'll tell you is you're absolutely right with that. And the word for it, they've got this like nostalgic 1980s charm about them, which is what the O-ring figures should have.
Yep.
They're not supposed to be highly like detailed in their faces. They look like you got these in 1984, right? The amount of detail on the figure, the type of articulation, and the sculpting in the face, I think have really dialed them back into the time that they were supposed to be released. And I love that about them.
Absolutely, that's great. Even the accessories have a little bit of that going on, and I love that they even paid attention to sort of like the Peter looking a little bit different with his sort of his lower legs and stuff. It's really cool things going on. If you're a Ghostbusters fan, if you're a Ghostbusters fan, you're lucky. This is great, because who would have thought that we'd be getting Ghostbusters toys again with a new Ghostbusters movie in theaters? It's cool. O-rings,
it's really cool, and so weird. O-rings. I mean, it's awesome. The only bummer was, and you can see the back doors open as well, but it only is going to seat 2 figures. They used a previous mold, or they already had this and kind of jigged this Ecto-1, this scaled Ecto-1, and they had to re-engineer it, and they were only able to fit enough room for 2 figures to fit in the front seat, which is a little bit unfortunate, because you would love, obviously you want to sit all 4 of your guys in here if you got it on display, but to make myself feel better, if I do have this on the shelf, I mean, do I want to cram all 4 of them inside the car and not get to see the cool O-ring figures? So this will allow me to have 2 standing next to the Ecto-1 and then sitting inside it, and I think it'll look great on display that way. So that's my consolation to the fact that it won't seat 4 figures, but it still looks great. I think it looks great.
Yeah. I think it's really a really cool thing to have, especially if you've got like 3 3/4 Joe vehicles and stuff. It'd be kind of cool to just all of us and see that thing there, or have that thing in the G.I. Joe base where the Mobat is, or I don't know. It would be really cool.
I know, right? I should put it up
someone
on
else
the
was saying someone else was saying putting the four Ghostbusters inside the jail cell inside that old G.I. Joe base, and I don't know. It's
that would
cool.
be
It's anyway.
Mhm.
Thank you, Hasbro, for making me feel young again for just a little bit. Good job.
And even if you had, let's say, I know the Playmobil figures are a little bit shorter than O-ring, but if you had like a Playmobil Ghostbusters Firehouse, which I do, it's just put away, these would actually look kind of cool because they're a slightly taller scale, but they still won't look too out of place because I know getting an actual Ghostbusters Firehouse is very hard and expensive.
Yeah.
So there's
And it wouldn't
opportunities
be in
because there's
scale with this anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really neat that they're doing this, and it's like it's a nice nod to the fans, bring them back to the original and giving us something unique. But the thing that we were all super excited about was when they unveiled G.I. Joe. Had to do that. We knew these figures were coming, but we got to see like the actual production images. And the funny thing was that I think because Emily was running out of time and something happened with the slideshow, I don't know what it was, but she was not going to or planning to give us a name only reveal. But she's like, you know what? Just as a consolation to whatever like little glitch they had in the panel room, because we were in the panel room with them, she threw out the name only reveal of Once a Man Cobra Commander. It wasn't planned. So we thought that was pretty cool. And we're like, everyone like starts looking it up, but I absolutely knew what it was. This is a whole
Wait, people were looking it up. Oh man.
It was
tell us you're not a Vintage Joe fan without telling us you know. That's,
I know. I was like, dude, it's like freaking from the movie when Cobra Commander starts turning into a snake. How do you guys not know that? But these look awesome. Have you gotten any of the new retro? I actually have one next to me. Have you gotten any of the new retro card backs? From the newest,
don't.
Like,
I actually don't.
Do?
I don't collect Joe Classified. My brother does, and I sort of like live through him. I have a handful, like a Destro.
Okay.
I actually have a Prophet Destro as well.
They may convert you.
No, I won't. You won't.
You won't.
But I've seen that.
So if any of you
I've seen that, and it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. Okay, so you guys all remember, and the jokes we used to make, this used to be a Walmart exclusive. The card backs were super thin. They showed up looking like a taco or a wonton because they were always folded in half by either Walmart or Amazon. The card backs were trash. Hasbro has done a 180-degree change. These new card backs are gorgeous. They're extremely thick, and I'm not even talking about like just thick card backs. It is like as thick as one of those double sandwiched Marvel Legends card backs. I mean, you can't bend this thing. And the plastic bubble is sandwiched inside of this, so you can't even see it. It's not stuck down to it, so it's like super, super incredibly thick. This is a mint on card collector's dream. If you love vintage G.I. Joe and you're a classified collector, you're gonna probably want to get an extra one to keep carded. These are incredible, and I want to applaud Hasbro for the amazing change. We've been asking for this kind of card back on these figures forever. We're like, you do it with Marvel Legends, why the heck can't you do it with G.I. Joe? And we were getting pissed for card backs for years, and these look great. I'm super excited of what else is going to come in the line. And they're so bright. The art is incredible. These are fantastic. So, and the new figures are wonderful.
And those are available at Target because I've seen him. I thought, right?
So
okay, that's what I thought.
Target,
I
was in my. Go ahead. Well, I love.
I was just gonna say I saw him in those sort of anniversary figures that are meant to kind of like resemble the old vintage 12-inch Joes, like the troops.
Yep.
And I was looking at it. I was like, great. I'm walking by, and of course, me like I was a kid in the 80s who had vintage Joes, and had this instant flashback seeing those cards there in Target.
Yeah.
Whoa. It was a beautiful moment.
Isn't that awesome?
I really do like the new head too. I really like that head sculpt on that Duke in particular.
Duke, this new head sculpt for Duke looks amazing. Like it is beautiful. They did it fantastic. I totally love it. What I was gonna show you guys was at my Target. Actually, I was out there yesterday afternoon, and they are now showing up on shelves, like a whole bunch of the new stuff I'm just trying to open the window and I don't know if I can. I gotta switch over and stop sharing for a second. So give me a sec to switch over to this and throw it on here. Present screen. Sorry, guys. I'll have it up in a second. Here we go. This was just at my local Target, and my Target is not one to like carry stuff. This is just regular Target, usually peeled, but there was a retro Duke. There was the 60th anniversary soldier and recon diver, and even freaking Metalhead was all sitting on the shelf. They're getting the stuff in store, and there was even the Hawk sitting in the box back here behind, which I didn't get in the photo, but all this new stuff is getting to the shelves. And like you said, even, Recondo and Scarlet are showing up on pegs.
So that was me a week and a half ago. That exact same setup, that display of those 4 figures next to each other. And it totally caught my eye because I was like, whoa, I see a Joe on a card.
Yeah. And I wanted to take a picture of this to give collectors hope that, if you don't want to wait for things to ship online or whatever, like, I don't know what happened with the Hasbro team, but if you think 2 years ago, we were waiting a year and a half for figures to ship to us. We had the same, Snake Eyes movie figures rotting on the pegs. Nothing was showing up in stores. And now all of a sudden, the product is getting to us fast. We're getting things in retail. They've improved their card backs. They've improved their packaging. So these look great. Putting a pin in those brand new last wave that had the smaller packaging with no art in the front. That's a totally different story. Hopefully they'll turn those around. But I think they're doing a wonderful job at these. So I'm super happy to see that. But what we wanted is to talk about was the reveals that and I got to switch over my screen again. So we knew that we were going to be getting retro Beachhead and retro Snow Serpent, retro Cobra Eel, and the Ferret in terms of seeing their digital render reveals. But we did get the actual official images, official card back images, and all of the drops happened this past week. We've got all of the links on ToyHabits.com. It was really cool to see these. These are like the production actual figures. They did show us these at the panel. They had them on display, and these are their prototypes. But I think these look great. I do have a couple little tiny nitpicks, which I'll go through in a minute. But they look incredible. So I know you don't really collect these, but I love that they're doing the retro figures, and because they are supposed to be homages to vintage. The only nitpick I have in this group was, and it's probably the same thing you're thinking, I couldn't wait to get a retro Snow Serpent. When the first Snow Serpent came out, it was like his web gear's too dark blue. It looks almost black. He's got these like super modern snowshoes. They have to do a retro version of him, I said. And then when they announced the retro version, I was so excited. And I was like, we're finally going to get his tennis shoes snow racket, his racket, tennis racket snowshoes.
Yeah.
Because that's classic to the vintage 3 3/4 inch O-ring figure. And what the heck does Hasbro do? I mean, they went through all this trouble of making a new figure, changing his web gear to the bright blue, giving him this amazing card back, and they gave us the same damn modern snowshoes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I get it.
That's the only nitpick I had.
I wasn't going to point that out, but yes, I remember those very well. Those were cool accessories back in the day. I will say, to maybe put a bright side on the whole thing, I'm appreciating now that I was having this conversation with my brother. I was like, oh, it's kind of cool that that they're doing more than just repainting the figures. Some of the earlier retro figures were essentially that, but even using different body parts. Some of it's new. Actually, is any of it new? Yeah, some of it is new, and some of it's just from other figures, like Beachhead's. Some of Beachhead's parts are from soccer, I think. Yeah, and it does it lines up a little bit more with my one, the vintage figure, which was one of my favorite characters back in the day. Yeah, because he just looked so cool. Beachhead just looked so cool, and then even seeing like the the weapons assortments here too totally took me back. And you're right. The one thing that is really odd,
One thing they could
if
have done.
I'm
How
in my
cheap is
retro
it?
brain,
Yes.
that those snowshoes are odd. But
To make, I mean, that was a lazy move. Everything else is gorgeous, and I'm giving Hasbro and the GI Joe team all the props. You guys did an amazing job. Fixed the card backs, gorgeous artwork, nailed the colors on the figures. They look great. But that was like my own little thing that bugged me. I'm like, how inexpensive would it have been to throw the right kind of snowshoes in there? And I'm sure some customizer, like some Gridiron Studios or somebody, maybe will come up with an extra pack for him and make us some snowshoes. Or maybe
it's
Ace
so
or something.
hard though, Toy Sorceress. It's really tough for these nostalgia brands, right? Because we do have such a strong connection and memory of these things, and they have to kind of figure out the balance. It's like, how much are we trying to make things new versus
it's the
the
small
nostalgia?
Details, right?
Totally. But I can imagine, but there's a certain set of GI Joe fans who would be like, well, those shoes aren't realistic. Why? You know what I mean? And they have to find that balance. Who are we going to piss off this week, right? Who are we going to piss off this time with this release? So
exactly. And I think the star of the show here was the Cobra Ferret with the scout figure. It's got this really cool female ATV driver in a Cobra outfit, which looks amazing. This Cobra Ferret went up on Hasbro Pulse. I think it was on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, when the drops were, and sold out fairly quickly. This was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, so hopefully whoever wanted one got one. What do you think of this? This is straight out of your vintage ferret.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I love the redesigned ferret with those cool looking, more techie tires. I'm sure some people will be bothered by the lack of realism or whatever. I think it's still hilarious that those missiles are so low to the ground. I love that Robo pointed that out this morning, because talk about major disaster if a rock hits it. But
oh my God, could you imagine?
I love the look of the figure. I think that's a cool looking figure. The only thing I don't like is the helmet. The helmet just feels very like Cobra's budget went down, so they ran to the local BMX shop or whatever, motorcycle shop.
Right?
And no, just grab that one off the shelf. We're cool. It works. It's fine. Throw it on.
But it's still like authentically BMX helmet, right? It's like totally like I mean, I thought that was kind of funny about it, but cool at the same time.
But her ankle holster is awesome too. I love that about these new Joes. All the weapon storage and great. It's great. Like we didn't have that. We didn't have any women other than Baroness and Zorana.
I know.
Right? In Cobra back in the day.
Off and be like, I'm taking it for me. But she looks really cool. It's gonna look great for toy photographers out there. They're gonna take amazing pictures. I know personally I want to put both of my my Crimson Twins, Tomax and Zaymot. Always wanted to put them on my ferret, so I can't wait.
Always. That was because of the box art, right? Back in the day.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's why. So, let me ask you this, because I don't have, I don't think I've ever held any of these classified vehicles. Are those decals that you put on, or are they printing them now? Do you know?
Most of them are actually like tampoed graphics on it. We did just get the vamp. It probably had maybe one or just a couple. I don't remember if the vamp came with any extra stickers, but if it does, it's just like a couple. If you want to kind of embellish it, like for example, on the Hiss, the HasLab Hiss had tampoed graphics on it, but then they gave you the option to add some additional personalized like stickers if you want to kind of customize the look of your own Hiss tank. You could do that.
Great.
So and it's great because since these are tampoed, they won't like start peeling off or anything like that.
I feel like it's more premium this way, like because I'm looking at this thing and I'm looking at the details of like the tire markings and stuff. Like those won't last. That's great. It's glad.
I know
smart that they stamp those on there.
They're stamping. They're template stamped on, so they look great.
Yep.
They look great, and there's even detail on. You can see, the little cockpit like screen or whatever of the steering wheel, and you can remove this big old gun that connects on there. Hopefully the missiles stay on better than they did on the vintage toy, because those used to just fling right off, and then that would crack very easily. How many people out there have cracked eggs for their missiles on their ferrets?
And they would fall, then it would explode, and Cobra would lose. Yeah.
Yep. You know, the one thing I think that they're missing, which I did not notice, and this is something that a lot of people are missing on their vintage ferrets, is it used to have that little kind of cable or whatever coming off of the gun that connected into like a port on the side. It's like a little black, like wire, and that they did not include in here, because most people's vintage ferrets are missing it, but it was supposed to be one that like came out imported on the side. So it looks like they omitted that in this design, but I think it still looks great. It looks great. I only bought one. I did not buy multiples of this, but I think it was like $60 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, or maybe 55. It might have been $54.99. I don't know if you guys remember in the chat.
It's a great great little vehicle. I love that they're doing fantastic.
Yeah, and here is a retro Beachhead in person, looking incredible on his card back. Again, this one was a great figure, total throwback to the vintage. I totally love that. Again, his card back looks great, and the presentation of all of his accessories on the bubble look fantastic. And I don't even mind this bigger scale, because this allowed them to kind of increase the size of the artwork. So I think looks great. All of these in-hand production images, all the official images are on the site. The retro eel, it's great that they are doing a version of this. It doesn't look, sorry, it's loading. It doesn't look that much different than the original eel. There's very slight variations to it, but a lot of people missed out on the eel. There are a lot on the aftermarket. The original version did sell out, and so they cost a lot of money. This is going to give people another opportunity to get this figure. I think they're probably still available on like Amazon and BBTS and EE, if I'm not mistaken. And you can go ahead and check out our article on ToyHabits.com. All the links for everything are in there. But it sold out pretty quickly on Hasbro Pulse, to be expected. He looks really good. I really like him. I think he has a little less accessories, if I'm not mistaken, than the original release. But again, you're getting this amazing card back, and it looks great. Yeah. So anyway, that is it for our G.I. Joe news, and I think I blanked out.
Wait, is it? I thought I was once a man. Oh no.
You have something else. Do you?
No, I just saw the that custom figure that you showed for it.
Oh yes, I'm sorry that I did not load that up. I'm going to grab that. We touched on the Once a Man Cobra Commander name only reveal, but I will indulge Brick here and show off this very cool custom that I dug up online. Sorry, I'm just
the legacy of Cobra. Sorry, that was just to anger some of the hardcore Joe
fans. Where's Dave to do the la 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 la? I can't do it. So if you remember, this was Cobra Commander from the G.I. Joe movie when he got turned into a snake man.
So good. I saw this custom and I was like, yeah.
This is from Rowan 8180 on Instagram, that does these really amazing renderings, like digital renderings of G.I. Joe figures. And if you haven't checked out his Instagram page, go ahead and check it out. But he's got like all these kind of concepts of different characters, and like
they're great
here, and they are wonderful. And I dug up this one of Cobra Commander. In his kind of partial transformation, his foot is now turned into a snake. He still has partial human form. His hand still remains, and yet he's transforming. So this was a really cool version. I'm very curious to see what Hasbro's going to do with this. Transforming Cobra Commander once a snake man, or once a man.
I love the detail of that faceplate, to the internal side of the faceplate. Like that would be amazing if Hasbro actually ever did anything like that. But such a cool custom. Or custom concept, I guess, is what it is, and I hope it's nearly this cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So do I. Yeah.
I love that
It's gonna look
reveal at the end of her thing, at the end of her G.I. Joe segment, and how she's sort of like, yeah, the other guys don't know that I'm doing this, but here we go. Okay, bye, moving on.
exactly. Here's a little extra tidbit for you. It was wonderful. So got to hand it to Emily for throwing us a bone and giving us that fun extra piece of information.
It's awesome that
So
you guys got to be there.
do you want to
That's
recap
really
on any
cool.
of this? It was great. I haven't been to WonderCon, and oh my god, it's been ages. Super 7 was there, but they just had like a sales booth. There wasn't any product on display.
Yeah.
I think Fresh Monkey Fiction was there, if I'm not mistaken, but again, just like selling stuff. There wasn't any like product on display by the vendors. And a lot of the vendors were mostly like modern product that you can like buy online, and there was a few pieces, but I was kind of excited to do some like vintage toy hunting, which I didn't get to do much of. And then Michael, my husband, and I head over to Frankenson's after, because I was like, we didn't get our vintage fixed, so we went shopping afterward, which is a lot of fun. Like I said, we got to hang out with Joe Coleman and Jason Tran, two of our awesome ToyHabits viewers and members. So they were really cool to get to meet them in person. It's always fun to get to meet people in the community in person. So that was great. Yeah, and you said, are you a Turtles collector at all?
No, I'm not. I was as a kid. I now have some turtle representation, but I've gone in a very weird direction with Rage Toys, which is a third-party company, and there's another one that's just very different. That said, I am very familiar with skincare and pores, so I would love to talk about these figures, and I generally try to stay positive.
Add something to them? I think they need some like oil of Olay or something, because
I will try
their pores are out of control.
But man, there's something going on with these figures right here. Let's go.
Yes. So, I want to first of all thank Pixel Dan for acquiring this photo. He did went at the extra mile, contacted Playmates directly, talked to their PR department and said, hey, can I get some more information? Can I get a better higher res image? Because when this was shown originally, it was like a stand at this event that was kind of like a flyer that someone took a picture of. And again, I want to give credit to where credit is due. It was at Adventures in Collecting, the AIC podcast, who originally took the picture, and it was at the Toy Insider Spring Fling event. But in the picture, it was very grainy, and it was hard to see what the articulation was like, and kind of the skin color we thought they were had kind of texture, but it was hard to tell. So Pixel Dan didn't get too much information out of Playmates, but he did get this photograph. He did find out that their retail price will be $12.99. But that skin is it's out of control. We'll talk about the articulation in a minute. But what is up with this? I mean, they look like frogs. Like they're inverted bumps, right? Because it looks like the texture is like, or they have like a really bad case.
I don't know what kind of frogs you have. Yeah, I was gonna say a couple of things came out from. There's a couple things.
It's like an inverted frog, right? The skin's inside out because it's going the other way.
First off, I feel like if I put too much pressure on them, all sorts of weird stuff would come oozing out, and maybe it's mutagen. Number two, maybe they were just really leaning into the teenage part of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because these guys have some, and so I'm not sorry, I'm now being crass, but listen, it's a weird look. And so this is where I'll try and put my rational hat for a second. It seems like something was off in the art direction, because if you look at these, they're very cartoony, and I don't know how much you can zoom in, and it's okay if you can't, but if you were to zoom in on those the blindfold sort of headband things, right?
Yes.
If they were going for a more realistic aesthetic, it's cool. If you're going more for like a photorealistic aesthetic, we would
Mm-hmm.
probably see like stitching or threading like we often do and say, like we were just talking about G.I. Joe
Yeah.
Classified on the
Yes.
clothing or whatever, right? But if you look at that, it's
Yes.
real flat. Like, clear it's a plastic toy based on a hand-drawn illustration. But then it's like someone didn't get the memo
Mhm.
on the skin and decided to go super photorealistic, like hyper detail. So it doesn't match up. You know what I mean? Like it feels
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
what's happening, right? So if for some reason those scarves were even more detailed and maybe they're going photorealistic, admittedly, I'd still say it's really weird looking, but there's
it's
that.
I think it's
Yeah.
worse like on Donatello, right? Because you can see his skin's darker. But you know what it reminds me of? And
I
I
don't know.
don't
Leo
know if you
creeps
guys
me
ever
out.
did this. He does. He does. Like if you were younger or whatever, maybe those little acne pore strips, like the little
Yep.
like the little clear
Biore.
cell strips when you try and get the blackheads off your nose, and
Yeah.
you kind of like
Yeah.
zoom in on the
Yes.
mirror and you see all the little
Yes.
pores like right there.
Well,
It's like
that's what
that
I'm
times
saying.
100, like all over the
Yes.
skin.
Yes.
Someone like
That's what I was saying. I
had
feel
like
like
a
if you
battery
squeeze
activated
it,
clear cell trick.
it's like,
Yes.
ooh. Anyway,
Yeah.
no,
So
totally.
that's what it
It's just an
reminds
odd
me of.
look.
It
Bright
is an
side.
odd look, and yes, bright side.
Well, I'll
Bright
just
side
offer some bright
is
sides.
we're getting. Okay,
Sure.
bright side is if you go past,
Uh-huh.
we can make all the acne jokes we want to.
Yeah,
If you go past the clear cell issue that they're having here, they are very nicely articulated. There's a couple little gripes about the articulation, but
Yeah.
they're much better, kind of a la Origin-esque type articulation for these more classic. I guess we had 5 points of articulation on the old vintage turtles. We do have,
Mhm.
Shoulder articulation. It looks like there's a single elbow joint at the elbow pad. Their wrists don't have the articulation that hinge up and down, but they do look like they turn in circles, which is great. They have articulation at the knees. It looks like a single knee joint under the knee pad, but that's still yet to be determined. You can kind of make out the little peg there. But the only thing that is a little bit of a bummer is they don't have ankle articulation. Their legs, their feet just like swivel, and it kind of breaks up the sculpt right there. But there is no hinge at the elbow. So if you want to kind of stand them in a cool action pose, they'll probably tip over, right? Because you can't tilt the ankle at all. So that's a little bit of a miss.
It's a bad design for articulation. It's almost like if you're going to do that, you shouldn't have done it at all, because it just doesn't make sense. Like you said, it breaks up the sculpt, and it's not going to help you in terms of posing or anything. It's not doing anything.
Exactly.
But
they're always
so
be
that's
like in that kind of slight tilt.
Yeah. And so it's odd. This release in particular is odd, because I think the blueprint's there, right? Just go back to Origins. Yeah. What if we re-released our old figures, but add this modern articulation as best we can, given the Buck style? They could have totally done that, but something got weird. I'll go back to Brightside. Those platforms and that they have that kind of connect together. Fantastic. I even like I like that the weapons, again, for this more modern thing, isn't just a single colored plastic, and it's kind of cool that they're color coordinated to the turtle.
Yeah.
So
does this look like real chain metal to you? Right? I think so.
I'm not
it's hard
sure.
to tell. It doesn't look like
here.
that.
I'll try to look on my computer.
That plastic. So it kind of looks like it's chain to me, which is, if it is, bravo to Playmates for that little bit of extra detail in there. And
oh, it does. It totally does. Yeah, they look like links.
So, yeah, they look like links. And I love that their stands are all different. He's got like some little, like, it looks like an air conditioning unit and like a little skylight, and there's like a railing over here, and I can't tell what's behind Donatello, but each of their stands are a little different.
They look like they're modular. I'm pretty sure they're modular. So like if you look at Leo's left foot and that little sort of vent thing, and then you go over to Raphael's left foot, there's a peg there. Do you see that?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure you can slot in these different pieces, which is still really brilliant. Like that's a really cool solution.
You even got the little vent right there.
Yep,
so to answer, really cool. I mean, the nitpicks aside, I'm happy they're doing this. I think they're going to be a one-off. I don't think it's going to be like a new toy line. But Legend, to answer your question, these are going to be sold separately, not as a 4-pack, because we were told they're $12.99 each. And unfortunately, can I go sad trombone? Like, wah, wah, they will be Walmart exclusive. So there were 2 different sets of turtles that were revealed at this event. The sketch turtles were from Target, and these cool classic turtles are going to go to Walmart. And I only say sad trombone because they don't have a good distribution, and things are Walmart exclusive are harder to find. Maybe the TMNT stuff will be easier because they do kind of clog the shelves with TMNT at Walmart. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And I'm just trying to see if there's anything else to touch on before we wrap up. We did get some new WWE reveals. And unfortunately, if you ordered Wave 6 of the G.I. Joe Ultimates line from Super 7, it looks like they didn't get enough orders for that. Of course, they have a minimum order quantity, but that wave's been canceled. And one thing I did want to touch on. I went on a little scavenger hunt last night on a tip about Merman to a certain store that he's supposed to be showing up at. And I unfortunately did not get Merman, but was able to uncover that Krang, Turtles of Grayskull, is showing up in stores or being shipped in stores currently at Walmart. So if you haven't got a Krang, because I know a lot of people missed out on the Collector Con, Krang should probably start showing up in stores at Walmart. So, the information I got, the SKU was kind of shared, but Krang should start showing up on shelves. And the other thing that did hit for pre-order yesterday was Wave 2 of Legends of Dragonor. Not sure if you are collecting this line, but the new Wave 2 figures are out. There is an army builder in there. I really love the 5.5 style, like MOTU style figures. So I am into this line. I'm collecting them. I'm trying to cherry pick this next wave, just because shelf space, etc. But there's some cool figures in this.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really great line. I love the Dragonor figures. I love the designs, and so I'm and I tend to lean these days a lot into the sort of indie toy world, and just love that people are creating these new things. So I dig it.
Yeah. So I went ahead and placed my pre-order, but they're up on Big Bad Toy Store. They're on formotoys.com. They are selling them individually or in entire waves. So we've got this Chief Talon, which is this really cool indigenous character with an awesome, like wings and mask. They've got this Horadama, which is obviously a witch, and she's really cool because she comes with a broom that she can ride, and she even has an alternate head. She has like a scary face, which I'll show in a second. There's this really cool caveman, and he also comes in a 3-pack with different cavemen. So he's an army builder. So it's a Bruter caveman. There's Arborist, this cool tree guy. And then we've got Venetia, which is like kind of like a more native kind of woman character. And then this really cool Tereptor, which looks like a lizard man, which is awesome. I think the sculpts are incredible. It's great that they're doing that. And then they're including the sorry, my computer is stuck for a second because I cannot scroll. They are including the Build-A-Figure pieces in this wave. So if you get each of the figures in the wave, and I can't scroll down for a second, I'll let my computer catch up. It will create a Build-A-Figure, which I am having trouble.
Is that the dragon? Well, which is the Build-A-Figure for this?
No, the dragon is actually separate. So the dragon already went up for pre-order. If you want to pre-order him, you can get him at Big Bad Toy Store. And
this is
but the Build-A-Figure looks similar. Yeah, it's a divine armor. It's a little bit different design. It's got more of this kind of pastel-y colors to it. I'm just reloading the article because my other page got stuck. So it's this character right here. He looks pretty cool. And each of those will come packed one piece with each of the figures. But the neat thing they're doing is that this Caveman Army Builder set, it's going to retail for $8 $80 for the set of 3. The individual figures are $35 a piece, but you can't get these 2 guys individually, just this caveman. And then there's a $15 weapons pack, which I think is really cool. So I did pre-order that.
And those all fit, I'm assuming, really well in Origin's hands too?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what else I'm going to use them for? I've been actually getting into vintage, like Remco figures from like back in the day from the 80s. And I'm missing a ton of accessories on those because they're super expensive. So I'm going to start filling out on some of those guys too. I think they'll look great on like the Warrior. Yeah.
The armor for this. Sorry, I was just gonna say both for Wave 1, like that was the one that I wanted. I wanted that armor, but I was like, oh, it's a Build-A-Figure. From Wave 1 and this one, they're so like clearly Jack Kirby riffs, right? They're like straight out of his Lords of Light kind of concept art. But that thing is so cool. Like
now that I'm looking at it close up, because I didn't order all the figures. Now I'm gonna like have to go back and order the rest. I was trying to cherry pick, and I was like, "Damn!" Now I'm looking at him again, and he looks really cool.
And this is truly it's a Build-A-Figure, right? Like it's own separate pieces, because they kept talking about the conceit that like it's the armor that your character wears, but it's just a figure.
It's actually a mystique in the storyline behind it, but basically with the Wave 1. Each of the figures were packed with like either like a head or an arm or the torso or the waist or the legs. So they all pop in very easily together. So it builds very nicely. I think my favorite out of this wave is Chief Talon. He looks awesome. Really love this character.
And you're talking about your new sort of Remco thing. The Terreptor looks straight out of the old Remco toys. I love it.
Can I flip my camera over? I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see them. Do you see them right there on the shelf?
I'm gonna sort of. I kind of see it based on the silhouette, but if you can solo your screen, there you go.
Hold on. Right there?
Oh yeah. Look at those. Yeah, man, those are great. I remember those in the stores.
And like Hercules and the Warlord.
I got one,
but
from
I had to fill in. There's some MOTU weapons and some other stuff in their hands because like I just couldn't. I couldn't get them. Complete. They're just hard to find even in that shape. But
that's cool.
I love getting into kind of like these more independent toy lines and more obscure like vintage figures and kind of building out like a collection with some meat.
Yeah, that's fun, man. That's really great.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that these are going to slot right in. Your flip ore is going to slot right in. Look at that. The head sculpt on this guy looks awesome.
Oh, that's cool. It's great. I love that. Yeah,
he's the master versions of these. I don't know if you caught that, but I'm like, right. I want these.
I did. As bigger figures and master. I mean, I love the 5.5 like stature, the scale of it. It's so much fun. This character is really cool too. She's got so much detail. Well, I mean, look at the paint on her face and her armor, her headdress. And it looks like she's even got like chain, like actual chain on her accessories as well. So she looks absolutely great. Yeah, that's actually chain metal.
And now these don't have. I know you're gonna have to get them. You're gonna have to get that. Look at that head sculpt. Woo, that is gorgeous.
I know.
Yeah, these would be great. If I were doing Origins, it would be so cool to have these alongside of them with a Remco. And these definitely feel very nostalgic too, because they don't have elbow or knee articulation, correct?
No,
they're cool. Great stuff. Beautiful.
They don't, and they're great because they're so solid and well built, and they don't have like the leg band issue, so they stand very well. They feel like really good in your hand, like they're nice, like chunky, solid figures. This witch is really cool because she can ride on the broomstick. And what I wanted to load up was her head turning feature in a second. And again, I apologize that this is dragging, but she has a scary witch face too, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I thought that was pretty neat that they included that with her.
Yeah, she looks like a little ghoulie from back in the days.
Yeah. That's really awesome. See, there she is. It would be neat if they threw in like a little flight stand with her, but she doesn't come with one. But
Yeah, the
looks like
placement
you
of
can.
that thing is a little.
I know, right? we won't comment on that.
Too late.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
looks awesome. Yep.
it's a cool
Oh
line,
my
and I
gosh.
love that. I'm loving
Yes.
seeing the indies kind of just building on a certain piece of nostalgia and the form factor and all that. I know when these started,
Yeah.
they were very much like based on like the original name of the line wasn't it Lords of Power or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
triggered those. And
that
then
triggered balloons.
yeah. But then they totally they were hit up by
Mhm.
Mattel to kind of make a shift, and they
Yeah.
did, and they ended up with this. And frankly,
Yeah.
I think they ended up with something even better, their own sort of unique
It
take,
did.
and I love that. It's
It
something
pushed
new
it
for
pushed the
people to fall in
creativity of
love
the
with.
line, the lore. Have you ordered the dragon? I did pre-order that red dragon, Egotar.
I haven't
Oh my
gotten
god, he
any of
looks so
these.
cool. Oh my
Thanos
god,
is
they're
the
so
one who's
cool.
been getting these, and I'm like, oh, those are so cool.
If you're ever in the LA area, Brick, I'm gonna make you come tour my toy
Oh
room, and
yeah,
then you can check these out in person, and you're gonna
I
fall in
will.
love because
Yeah, you're
they
not
are
far from
so
where my
cool.
folks live, so.
Yeah. So these are incredible, and these cavemen are really cool if you're into army builders. They've got
Mhm.
they're unique. Each one is not the same, so they do have different head sculpts, but
Yep.
they did change kind of like their loincloths or whatever. These are, I
Mhm.
think, the same, but this guy has his loincloth going the other way with like a little knife in there. They've got different accessories.
Yeah, they're great. It's a
Gosh, I'm
great
sorry.
toy line. That's so cool.
Yeah, these are really neat. So that's going to slot in really nicely. And then here we have Mossman's cousin, Arborist. I'm just kidding. This tree
I
guy,
love the look
he's
of
really
them.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
he looks great. So just the sculpts on these are incredible. And then there's this lizard guy, which is awesome. And he's different than the dragon. The dragon is actually a much taller figure. He
Yep.
comes with a saddle.
Mhm.
Is that playing on my ad here? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, guys.
We can't hear it.
Back
No,
to
it's
you.
fine. It's not playing through here.
Good.
But
Okay, the
yeah,
ad
no,
keeps popping up on my.
and the dragon can kind of lay down and sort of be upright as well. I
Mhm.
saw, and they look cool.
So you can saddle your figures on them to sit as a beast, or he can be an actual character on the dragon. So not this one. This is an actual character, which is really cool. And terror something or other. What was his name? Terraptor.
Rex.
He's really neat. I like his coloring looks great. This one totally reminds me of one of my Renko warrior beasts that I have, and
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
got a. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
When I saw this with
looks
Teraptor, I thought it was Reptorex, but Teraptor.
Yeah.
That's totally what I thought. I was like, oh my god, that totally looks like an old school Remco design
Renko.
with a little bit more
Yeah.
detail.
Yeah, of course, but it still calls back to that, and you can see the dragon like in the background here, who's got like chest armor and the big wings, and so those look great. Yeah, and there's
There it is. There's a
one
dragon.
with
Look at that big old beast.
Yep. It's huge, and you can put your figure riding on him. So it's like neat because now you have like a beast vehicle or whatever to pose your figures on. So these are wonderful. If you haven't checked out Legends of Dragonor, check them out. We have all the coverage on our website on those, and yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it's been
Alice is
great.
pointing out that's a good reminder because I was
Yes.
saying, that they originally they were called Lords of Power, and that was because they were working with Mark Taylor on these, right? And so, and Allison was pointing out a little bit before that one that that they're still pulling from his concepts, and they're great. Yeah, they're really great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's clearly pulling from other sources, but still, because I see the reference. I totally see the reference. Even that you said Mossman's cousin is very much like some of these fantasy characters that I've seen before with the leaves, and but they're really well done. And again, that Kirby stuff. Whew,
Yeah.
I need those figures. I need those as maybe like 10-inch figures. Those would be great.
They are incredible. So totally should check it out. And I was just going to say, I want to apologize to chat if I haven't had a chance to check back in with the comments because I'm actually controlling all of the dials here. Brick has no control over it.
Yeah,
Usually me and
I'm just
Michael
chilling.
split up. So my apologies, I to not be able to multitask as much as I wanted to check in with the chat comments. But you
Yeah.
guys have been great. and Brick, it's been so amazing having you on as well. It's
Oh,
always fun to talk toys, and I love your point of view in your insight,
thank you.
which is wonderful. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I
And
love
also
being
to
here. I
point
love
out,
the channel. So.
you're incredible. Thank you so much.
No.
If you guys
Give me. I just want to say I love the channel.
please.
I love what you guys do. I love how so you heard her say this, but before we started, the reason we were late was she was working on this article, and I've been on streams with her elsewhere where we're learning something real time, and she's putting up an article right away. So like the website is dope. Like I was sitting here over here on this side looking at them. And it's like, oh my God, all this information is here. It's perfect. Like, what a great way to do a show. So big ups to you and to Michael for all the work you do and all the leaks you all keep getting. And it's
Thank
really
you.
cool. So Toy Habits, super special. This whole time I've been wanting to say Toy Habits. I keep hearing that. So
yeah, and a big shout out to Michael.
Yeah,
shout out
Michael
to
and
my
Michael's brother for that cool music. Yeah, that would be my only.
Yes.
That would be my suggestion. This is my suggestion. If you could find a way to every now and then just trigger that music just for fun, that'd be great.
Know. You know what? We can do it now if you guys want to sit through it one more time. Since I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
And before we go live, smash that like button, turn on notifications, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss a beat.
Yeah, man. Just get the audio file, put it in StreamYard, and just boom.
I should. You know what I was going to say is I actually cannot hear that while it's playing.
Oh, on your end. Oh,
I can't hear it. So you guys get all jazzed. You get to like be pumped up and hear like the Toy Habits theme song. And on my end, it does not play out loud. So I never get to hear it, which is totally a bummer because I want to get like jazzed up along with you guys.
All right. Well, after the stream, let's talk about it. I have an idea for how you can do it because it's great. Okay. As people are putting in the chat, people are like, I love it. It's catchy as F. Because it is. It's really great. Mint with the card is saying, I randomly sing the theme song and my husband laughs. Yeah, I did that. So I've got to hang out with Michael a couple different times. And the last time we were hanging out with the other folks, it's like I can't help it. Every time I say Toy Habits, I got to go Toy Habits because it's.
You got to recently hang out with the guys.
Oh yeah.
When Ken was in town, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
It was great. Right? I think it was a couple weekends ago, and Ken was in town. Chris from Shiny Plastic People was in town. We got to go up to Sacramento, and it's great. And he took us to another shop that I didn't even know about. So it was a good day, and I escaped without spending much money too. So,
it's funny because like Michael didn't really buy anything the whole weekend we were together. We went to WonderCon. Spent the weekend there. We went to Frank and Sons, and then the next day I took him to Burbank to go toy hunting. Unfortunately, it was Easter Sunday, and I forgot like all the stuff was closed, and I was like, darn it! So we didn't get to go to my favorite collector shop out there. But I did find another new one. I think it's called like Universal Classic Toys in Burbank, another shop, and I did find some cool stuff there. Did some toy hunting. You never know what you're going to find. I would love to do some toy hunting videos at some of these local stores. But we had a lot of fun. It was great, and I threw some photos up in my toy haul that weekend. So it was wonderful. But I want to give a big shout out to my partner Michael, who couldn't be here today. He's spending the weekend with his family. But Michael works tirelessly. He's an amazing partner. He's a lot of fun to work with. Could never have done any of this without him. And I want to give him a huge thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this with him as well. So Michael, you are amazing, a wonderful partner. Hope you're having fun out there today, and just love doing this with you. I wanted to point out to everybody the incredible resource that ToyHabits.com is. Again, we have all the shop pages here with links to all of your favorite figures to easily find everything. But the neat thing also that I wanted to point out was, and we have Delta 17 shop coming soon, just to help link that over to Delta 17 once that launches. But the cool thing is that we wanted to build a resource for you guys, not only to go and take a look at breaking news, but to look at things that, you know, maybe you just want to get more information on, or see closer things about. So there's this little magnifying glass, and I point this out once in a while. It's at the top of our website. It's right above the logo, right up here. And if you click on that and type in anything you want, so I'm going to put like Masterverse Cyclone, well, just for an example, and it'll bring up all of the articles that we mentioned that in. So, and I guess it's because I did not put a hyphen in there. So it'll start pulling up all these relevant articles. So if there's something that's been, you know, we covered a while back, you don't feel like flipping through our pages and pages in each of the categories, you can easily find quick links to the articles there. We do have categories for all our stuff: MOTU, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Thundercats, everything on the top of the page. But that little, I can't tell you how many times this magnifying glass has saved us, because we go back and reference previous articles we've done when we're writing things up. So we want to get information, and that's a quick way to go ahead and find that. So you can always take a look at that. And, you know, we do all this to make collecting funner for all you guys, to take the hassle and the stress out of it, to bring you all the latest news, keep the toy community connected, and just, you know, make it fun to do our hobby that we love, because the last thing we want this to do is be a frustrating process for you guys. So we're hoping we're helping.
Yep. It's great. Love Toy Habits. ToyHabits.com.
Toy Habits. And also, you guys, if you haven't checked it out, check out Brick Something's channel. He does an incredible job. When are your normal YouTubes videos? You do your live streams on Sunday?
I do them Sunday right now. The next 3 weeks, they'll be at 4:30 p.m. Pacific is when I'm starting, but I'm moving a little bit earlier after that, 3:45 p.m. Actually, it's partially so I can watch you guys, because sometimes you're going in on Sundays and there's like all sorts of things going on. So look for it. The best thing to do would be to just head over to Brick Something. Actually, if you go to bricksomething.com, it should take you right to the YouTube. And the other thing, I want to highlight is that I've been working really closely with one of my favorite toy lines, and that's Animal Warriors of the Kingdom with Spiro. And so we've been I've helped sort of organize these series of live streams where we're kind of been all over ToyTube lately for the straight 2 weeks, and we're going to keep going. The campaign ends on April.
Do you want to go ahead and check? You want to share anything? I'll give you a moment.
Sure, that would be. Thank you. Yeah, let's do that. Let me go ahead and bring it. And actually, thank you. But yeah, if you're not familiar with Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, it's a great toy line. Do you have any? If you don't, I'm going to get you some, because it's one of those things where you get. Okay, great. So you're familiar. They're doing a Kickstarter right now, and let me go ahead and share that. Thank you. The Kickstarter has been going since March 6th.
Go for it.
Yeah, I went ahead and shared it. If you can.
There we go. Yes.
So the Kickstarter has been going since March 6th. This is where we're at. We hit, I think after day 5 or day 6, hit that first goal.
Oh, wow.
And now we're just trying to blow past that so we can unlock some stuff. Initially, it was trying to unlock 4 brand new bucks. So just like Dragonor, right? We were talking about, this is an indie line, small company. No one's had these figures up until last February 2023. So this is a really new line. Here we are in year 2, going back with a Kickstarter, and we're trying to unlock 4 new bucks initially, 4 new body types. But with the Kickstarter, we've sort of revealed that actually the real plan is to unlock 7 brand new body types in total if we can hit all the tiers.
Look at that.
Here you go.
Yes. Funky boy.
Yes. So that is General Mamba. And I'm just going to quickly go through. You'll see stuff has been unlocked. I'm going to tease it here. If you want to look it up over on Kickstarter, you can kind of see. I'm going way too fast. Sorry, but there's lots of different body types. And so we got dogs. We got, we've got the women. Finally, it took us so long. Well, technically, it's only the second year of the figure line's life. but still way too many waves. And we're finally getting some women. I was teased with the alternate head recently on this one. And oh, let me tell you, some good stuff coming. We've got lions, all of them. We got bunnies.
Yeah.
There's cyborg foxes, but I'm just going to scroll down. Yes, there are birds. Yes, see-through figures.
Ooh, is that a translucent figure I see up there?
I was just going to say, there's a translucent figure.
You always get me with translucent, man. I love that stuff.
We've got birds coming. We've got this cardinal that has a loop that splits in half. And
cardinal is so cool. I love that.
Beautiful. I love it.
He is.
We've got this guy, and then I know I'm just going to scroll down. Yeah, hey, Ox, this guy. And that unlocks at 410,000. This is the last week and a half or so. It ends April 17th, a couple days after, hopefully we get our tax refunds. And hey, if you want to treat yourself, consider going to the AWOC thing. And anyway, I just wanted And so if you go to my channel and you go into the community tab, you'll sort of see all of the different things that we're doing. So for example, this is what's happening. So right now, it's not listed here. Right now, Jason, the creator, is talking with Shartimus Prime. Tomorrow we'll be on Adam Highly Articulated's channel at 2 p.m. Pacific. And then I'll do my stream at 4:30. And then we'll be back on Geek Dad Life. And I think there's more this week. So that's it. Thank you for that little segment. And thank you for having me here, dude. Seriously. And when I go down there, my family now lives in Pasadena. So I know that's just east of you.
Not too far from me.
Yeah, when I get down there, we'll hang out. That's the plan. The last time, I just need to make sure that I go on a day when Frankenstein's is open so that we can go there.
I know, it's only like Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, right? If I'm not mistaken.
And that Burbank store that you mentioned, and there's another store you mentioned. We got to hit those up.
Yeah, they're both in Burbank. One of the stores, which is great, like the bigger one, is not open on Sundays. It's open the rest of the week, but they're closed on Sundays, which whatever. Like, it's wonder when people have fun to like go shopping one of the weekend days, but go figure. They're not open on Sundays, but they're a great store called Blast from the Past. That's on Magnolia Boulevard. If you're in the area, check them out. But they're closed Sundays. But they're a wonderful shop. I do go collecting there quite often. I bought something there today. I forget what I got. I left it in the star. It was in the car. It was a Brave Star. I think Tex Vex or something like that. But they have really great vintage toys there. One of my favorite stores to go to. We don't have a lot of vintage toy stores in the LA area, unfortunately. With the exception with ginormous Frankensteins. But as far as kind of local stores, they're very far and few between. So it's kind of and Frankenstein's is an hour away from me. So it's I go there once in a rare while. But it'd be great to have like some wonderful local toy shops to go toy hunting in. I watch all those toy hunting videos, and it seems like the Midwest has a lot of them, and
they do.
I love like all the cool things that you get to find out there, because that's kind of like the heart of a lot of the toy companies who are out there. You had Hasbro and Kenner, and lots of amazing vintage toys. And you never know what you're
and unfortunately Allison's making cracks about LA, but the reality is it's just expensive here. So it's expensive to own a storefront, and so that's the biggest challenge. That's what happened up here. And so so we just don't have them, and it's cheaper to run a business and to rent a spot in other parts of the country. So we just got to travel more. So thank you.
And again, please check out Brick Something's channel. He does incredible work. You are so much fun to watch. So talented and super knowledgeable about all the subjects you talk about. I love listening to your conversations. So please check out Brick Something. And it's been an honor having you as a co-host on our show. Thank you so much for filling in for Michael. You are the best. And if you're ever again in the LA area, I'd love for you to come by and visit. We can hang out. We can go do some toy shopping.
Absolutely.
Let's
Let's
do
do
a
it.
lot of fun. Yeah. And thank you to all of you who joined our show today. Everybody out there in the chat. You guys are awesome. The crew keeps growing. And if you do want to join, head over to YouTube, to the Toy Habits channel on YouTube on your desktop and hit the join button on there. And you can become a crew member. And it's so much fun to be part of the crew. And these guys are amazing. And we did get those 10 crew memberships gifted. I just want to roll through the chat. If I missed anybody else's, I think I got everything. But thank you guys for joining, and everyone have a fantastic time. And we are going to be peace out, and we'll see you guys next weekend. Michael should be back, and you never know if something tickles our fancy that's super exciting to talk about. We never know when we're going to pop up. But in the meantime, you can always go over to toyhabits.com on a daily basis. Whenever news drops, we are always updating that on the website, and that'll keep you informed on all of the amazing toy news. And keep a lookout, because we've got more information, more MOTU info coming. So
they're sitting on all sorts of information. I've seen these guys at work, so you just wait. It's wild. Respect.
It's gonna be wild, guys. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.